Chris, you guys know Chris is late. He's a brand new father. We're going to keep saying that. So that's his only excuse from now. But we got myself, we got Ty, we got Steve, and we got Jay. And we're the SEC Connect, folks. Like, comment, subscribe to all these videos, folks. Please go like. If you're in this chat, go like. It doesn't take much. If you don't like us, then hey, thumbs down. We don't give a shit. Just do it.
Comment always. You know exactly what you don't like about me. Make 4 comments. Go in real big detail. I'll read them.
Exactly, man. But let's see, man. We got a host of topics today, folks. First one, Dylan Stewart going to South Carolina. Huge pickup. People thought that he was going to go to, the OSU, Ohio State University. So the second topic here, folks, we're going to talk about is, if you look at that ticker down there, let's go click Iowa State. They're gambling and their recruiting fiasco. Not recruiting, their gambling fiasco. Folks, Iowa State has been gambling. Their star quarterback, Decker, has been gambling on not just football, but on other sports as well. But it's also gambled on one of the football games. I think it was Iowa State versus Oklahoma State last year. And then the third topic, Auburn's recruiting has been picking up, and there might be somebody who may be looking to go to Auburn, and we'll let Jay kind of hit that one up. But, folks, let's talk about Dylan Stewart going to South Carolina. Was supposed to be a heavy Ohio State lean. Me and Ty were kind of talking about this in the green room. Ty, go ahead and start this thing off, man.
Well, can I tee it up?
Yeah.
Let me tee it up, please. I don't want to take it from the married man. Congratulations to Ty Hayes, who got married since the last time you've actually seen him, and that's why everything's changed for him. He's got a new look. But we definitely want to congratulate Ty on that. But I want to tee this off because when I saw that Dylan Stewart, 5-star plus, top 10 player in the country, number 1 player out of DC, decided to go to South Carolina of all schools over Ohio State and all these others, I was looking at it. I was like, should we be surprised? And when I thought about it, I'm like, no, not really. And this is why. South Carolina has a tendency of snatching up random, really good players out of nowhere. And you're just like, how the heck South Carolina get them? They just somehow do it. From the Spurrier era and then going all the way now into the Shane Beamer era, they do a really good job of getting certain players. Like, think about it. They had Jadeveon Clowney, right? You know what I'm saying? Sure. Marshawn Lattimore. You know what I'm saying? That you get these players, you're like, okay, now I'm seeing they do get the 5 stars. They find a way to bring them in. And so when they landed this, I'm like, it's not too much of a shocker. It's not too far from home for him, for Stewart. And as much of a beast as he is, it makes sense that they would be lucky enough to land him. And so I'm not as surprised as most, just because it's like, a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. And it just feels like what they be doing. It's just always random, but they can do it.
Yeah, and look, here's the other thing, guys. To piggyback off of what Jay said, because he's 100% right, South Carolina has this ability to recruit surprisingly well. They have hit the transfer portal really hard. They lost a few guys to the transfer portal this year. One of the running backs, I think, is a guy, and probably that tight end, if they could have kept those two. That would have been big. But at the same time, Jay, it's interesting you talked about how they recruit and they get these random 5 stars. They were just in Washington, D.C. in the class of 2023 getting 5-star, whatever you want to call him, tight end, edge, Nicholas Harbor, one of the freakiest players in the nation. So I wasn't super surprised to see South Carolina do this for that exact reason. They were just on the East Coast dominating, winning a huge battle in recruiting over, I mean, let's be honest, everybody wanted Nicholas Harbor. His upside on either side of the ball, right? Very green, has some learning to do, but it's not going to take long for him to make an impact wherever he chooses. Personally, I think tight end would be just absolutely dangerous. Clash of cultures. Thank you, Jaheim Belt. That was the tight end's name. Thank you very much for filling that in. But great win for South Carolina. They get an absolute monster.
Steven, how about you, man?
Piggybacking on the Ty's DC point, I mean, at some point we do have to look at them establishing shop there. So I'm from that area. That's where I was born and raised and played football in that area myself. And Ty mentioned Nick Arbor. their second best player in last year's class was Desmond Umezulu from Flowers in Upper Marlboro. That was the second best player, who was also an edge in the 2023 class. They took 3 other players from the DC area. And when I say DC area, there's a Catholic league there, and I have to explain this to people all the time. It's where Caleb Williams came from. But they took 2 players from the Catholic league in the 2023 class. So somebody from St. John's and somebody from DeMatha. These are teams in the DC area that are nationally ranked. Think about DC as well. Since Joe Paterno has passed, there's really no true loyalty there. People can come in that region and start getting multiple players at a time. We see this happen all of the time. Going back to Florida, a lot of Florida guys, people don't know this, a lot of Florida guys in the Urban Meyer days, Percy Harvin and others, were also taken from there. So that's an area that's super fertile every year that you can come in and start to take players in bunches. So when you see a Nick Harbor, like when you see the top 2 players in last year's class, and now you get a top 10 player from DC in this class, and a lot of these guys are coming from either the Catholic League or PG County schools.
PG.
They got a tie in there somewhere, and I think it's worth actually looking at the coaching staff to see if there's some bigger ties to address.
Chris, how about you, man?
I'll just say this right here, Beamer ball. I mean, I think enough said right there. I really like Beamer. Beamer is a good coach. Beamer is a guy that these kids want to play for, and they will continue wanting to play for. I think with Beamer, I know we talked about I think the freshman that he has behind Spencer this year or whatnot. I mean, South Carolina is one of those teams. Ty, I think we talk about this all the time. Some teams are a coach away. Some teams are just a couple of pieces away, right? South Carolina is always going to be able to, I feel like, be able to recruit adequate talent, not only to compete in the SEC, but to compete nationally. But getting a kid like this it's special. Obviously, you can say that. But at the same time, how does Beamer continue this momentum? How does he recruit around this? How does he build a class around? Obviously, I think his best recruit inside of this, 24 cycle or whatnot. So that's what I want to see, consistency there. And then kind of what are they like next year going forward? And does this attract more players to come play with them? But, offensively, are they going to be stagnant, or are they going to continue to improve under his watch? Because it's not necessarily every day that a 5-star quarterback is going to South Carolina, or you're having one land in your lap via portal. So, I mean, that's just kind of my thing. But again, I'll just say, Beamer ball, man. I think Beamer is a good coach, and I really like what he's done thus far at South Carolina. He's done everything. He's done all the right things there at South Carolina, in my opinion.
Yeah, guys, and, so my thing here is, once we got NIL, I made a big video about this, and this is going to even out the playing field for a lot of people, and that kids know that they can go in and, actually get compensated, but also go to a school that's in a really good conference, going to South Carolina, going to play in the SEC. He's going to have the opportunity to start right away or get a significant amount of snaps right away. And, a guy like this, maybe I wouldn't have looked at, SC too hard prior to NIL. But what NIL is doing is starting to kind of level the playing field there. And you're seeing a lot of players go to schools that we thought would have never went to, like said school, right? So, Rushing is at Arizona, right? So he's one of the top, linemen in the country, right? So you're looking at stuff like that, man, to where kids are getting the bag right now. Teams are throwing the big bag at them right now. And it's starting to actually level out the playing field. Unless you're Georgia and you have 3 out of the top 15 and then favor for another 2, right? So that's a whole different thing. But yeah, that's my take on it. So if anybody's watching this here, look, all the video here, this is video of Dylan Stewart. So if you guys are actually listening to this on the podcast platform, it's really cool to come look at this on YouTube, because we're going to have highlights of some of these guys that that are that's actually being talked about here. So let me go ahead and get off of this one, and we will go to the next topic here, folks. The next topic is going to be about Iowa State. Iowa State and their quarterback just got caught betting on games, for his college, including betting on a football game, I think in 2021, Iowa State versus Oklahoma State. What do you guys think about this, man? Go ahead, Ty.
Question. Was he betting on his team to win?
I'm not sure if he's betting on his team to win. I don't know the actual details on that, but he was betting on Iowa State versus Oklahoma State football.
Look, if he was betting on his team to win, like I said in the green room, man, I think that's just, look, bet on yourself. Don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
You're on mute, Jay.
But let me something funny with that.
He didn't even play in the game. He didn't play in the game.
Nope. That was the game he didn't play in.
Well, then bet on your mans. I don't know.
You want to hear something funny though? One of the Iowa players that did get caught also, because it's all basically Iowa and Iowa State kids that's getting caught in this scandal, right?
Yeah.
So one of the Iowa players, guess what he was doing? He was betting on the under for Iowa games.
Yeah. Under his mom's account, the kicker.
Under his mom's account?
He created a fake account under his mom's name.
Did y'all see their offense?
On DraftKings.
That's just smart. Did you see their offense? That's just smart. That's just smart betting.
Yeah, but what's the difference between what he did and Calvin Ridley betting against Urban Meyer, even though he was like last year in the NFL and getting suspended for a whole year? I mean, at some point, all these athletes have to understand you can't bet games, period.
Yeah, no, I'm making light of the situation, but no doubt.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm trying to understand.
In a lot of cases, they have intel, and even if they're not on the team or they have intel that the public does not have access to. That's the biggest reason. One of the biggest reasons, in my opinion. If you come from another school, you're talking to players. It's totally different than you or us here that are not tied directly in that field of competition. So I don't really have a lot of. I mean, at this point, all these people getting busted. If that many people are getting busted for gambling, and we know gambling culture is only going to continue to persist. Many of us have sponsors on our channel that are tied to Vegas or gambling. I mean, it's not a secret anymore. That's just. I mean, at some point, it's like, dude, y'all already know what it is. Yeah. If you get caught.
Yeah. What's funny is that the biggest snitches in this is Vegas. Like, the minute you put your information in there and they start to figure out who is actually making the bets, for like the NFL, the biggest problem is you got to put your employer in when you create an account with like MGM or Caesar's Palace or Williams Hill or whatever, or Circa. They want to know who your employer is. And some of these dummies are putting on there that they play football or they're professional athletes. It's like, what? So then they investigate their name, and the minute they find them, that's how like Ridley and them got caught. They put in their freaking profession. So yes, they're snitching on them for that, because that's basically the integrity piece that they have to try to have in order to keep this money train rolling. That's the one thing,
Jay, they create, half of them brothers created the account inside the team facility on the.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They pinging their IP addresses and saying, "Hey, this is coming from inside of y'all's location. Do y'all know who this is? Oh, let me go figure it out." Sure enough, boom, it's a player. So to me, it's like, why not have a handler and you never have your name anywhere near it? Like, don't even text it. Get a burner or something.
Get a burner. This is a great comment here. It's funny because all these bets are about $100 to $200. It's not even worth it. And it's so true. It's so true. It's not even worth it, man. It's just, look,
it's boredom.
Everybody knows the rules. So Steven just said this. Everybody knows the rules, man. Just stop. Is it worth it? I mean, is it worth it? Everybody knows the freaking rules. Just don't freaking do it. Go bet on baseball or something. I mean, go bet on hockey or go bet on basketball, but don't bet on the NFL if you're an NFL player. Don't bet on college football if you're a college player, especially your own freaking team. Like, that's just stupid. But
unless you're betting the under and you're on Iowa's offense, in which case that's just smart betting.
That's free money.
That's just a good bet, yeah.
It's free money.
And it is. Yeah, it's
no. So look,
betting against Urban Meyer when he was in Jacksonville was free money. Like, I did it, dude.
Yeah.
It's fool's gold. At the end of the day.
Good bets are good bets. What can I say? No, look, I joke about it, but y'all are 100% right. I mean, this is one of the most obvious. I think that's why I joke about it. It's because like of all the rules you could have broke, so many of the rules you could have broke that I wouldn't have even cared about. Like I wouldn't have even thought about it again. And you did the one that's just so ridiculous. It's like, why? Why that? Like, you can't do that. If you want to be a gambling degenerate, go bet on the UFC. There are fights every Saturday. You're going to lose a lot of money. You might win every here and there, but you'll get your kicks.
Yeah,
Go bet on that.
That's crazy, man. And he is actually projected to be their starting quarterback this year. That's the thing, right? So now, we always hold coaches accountable and say they have to be leaders amongst men, and the face of a team is usually the freaking quarterback, and he's supposed to be the face of the team, and the guy that you put in the billboards, and the guy that leads the team and rallies his team, especially him being a junior, right? So he's a redshirt junior, which means he's been there for 4 years, so he's technically a senior. And so what does that say to the players that are kind of young in that team, right? What does that say to a true freshman who's coming in and he's been in 7-on-7 workouts with this guy all summer, and he's been on his ass all summer about doing things the right way, and he gets busted for gambling on this team.
Steven,
it's a Shark Tank, man. I mean, it is what it is. Iowa State is gonna be okay. I wasn't projecting Iowa State having a great year anyways, but I know this right here. You better bring your lunch pail because they're gonna work all 60 minutes of the game. I mean, that's just them. That's just in their character. That's the culture around there. But Hunter Decker doesn't scare anybody. But now, hell, he may not even be playing on the team. So you're kind of wondering, what are they going to be doing?
AJ Cole season.
Yeah,
that's a hit for them. Now, Steven,
a big hit because last year was okay. Well, we're rebuilding. Now, they were feeling a little bit confident because they've seen what they've been able to do once they've, had to, go through the first rebuild. I don't know anymore.
So James's comment has the gears in my head turning. Steven, are you still doing any work with Aura?
Yes, sir.
Boy, this would be a hell of a time for both you and I to cut an ad for Aura to be your VPN so that you can gamble as a college athlete.
I mean, it's right in the lap of services that Aura provides, guys. 14-day free trial. Take advantage, college athlete. Check yourself.
Yeah, check out the link in the description below. We've got one on all of our channels. You can find mine at aura.com/unfair sports.
And look, here's a comment from Steele. He said, rumor is there's more involved at ISU. And I can totally believe that because once there's smoke and you finally see where the fire is coming from, it's probably kind of, spread its way through the hallways there through the football facility. So it's going to be interesting. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Speaking of LSU, did y'all see that news that came down the line about 2 hours ago about the defensive line coach, Jimmy Lindsey, is stepping away from the program to deal with their health matter?
Yeah.
He's gone.
Big.
Their defensive line coach is gone.
That's big.
So, okay. All right. I want to kind of tie this into recruiting here.
There we go.
Texas and LSU are in a hell of a battle for a defensive lineman at edge. Colin Simmons, a top 5 player in the country. All right.
Yep.
He is a pass rusher that is it's kind of a 50-50 split now between Texas and LSU. Of course, Texas wants the guy. He's from Duncanville High School, one of the best schools in the state when it comes to producing talent. Hall of Fame coach Samples, that's there. Just outstanding school. If LSU is losing their defensive line coach, how much is that going to affect having a guy like Colin Simmons rethink where he's going to go?
Now, is Jamar Cain still there?
No,
Jamar Cain's with the Broncos.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a
Here's
whole
the
new
thing,
room.
though.
Whole new room.
With LSU, I don't think this is going to be a big factor, in my opinion, in terms of Colin Simmons making his decision on August 10th. Shout out to the Miami Hurricanes for getting on the poster, by the way, for the top 3.
Come on, Steven. Come on.
Shout out to Miami.
Hey,
man, don't be hating on that. Don't be hating on that Hurricane money.
Hey, y'all, why y'all laughing at Coach Ruiz?
The level of disrespect.
We're gonna get to you. We're gonna get to you, Ty.
However,
I'm chilling.
However, with in respect to Colin Simmons, this recruiting battle, the LSU has had such a connection with Colin predating all of this. So yes, Jimmy Lindsay going down. I mean, I'm sure Colin Simmons knew before that was even, a situation. But that's an all hands on deck relationship, starting from BK down with him. In terms of the recruitment between Texas and LSU, I've said this the whole way. I'm not conceding anything until December 20th. That's just me. And this is the same thing we talked about last year when it came to Vasic and Anthony Hill as well. Even when those guys made commitments, whether the player selects LSU or Texas. But that relationship with LSU is going to be very, very difficult to defeat. Colin Simmons was mocked to LSU over a year and a half ago. This is before everything went crazy. That relationship was built a minute ago. So I know it sounds crazy with the position coach. You would think, oh, he loses his guy, blah, blah, blah. But it's a lot tighter than that. And it's something that I think is going to play out into the season, regardless of what he decides to do on August 10th.
Now, this is the one. Hold on, Chris.
Hold on.
However, with McKinley.
However, I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
We will take McKinley, though. Hey, with all due respect.
That's a different story.
Hey, hold on. With all due respect, Coach, I hope you recover. I hope everything is fine. Hope you and your family get through this, make it through this. Our thoughts and prayers are with you. But, McKinley, what's up, man? We playing with house money right now. You know what I'm saying? Come over here to Death Row. Come to OU, man. Make all your dreams come true, baby. You know what I'm saying? You don't want your coach dancing in your videos, come to Death Row. You know? OU in here, baby. We here.
Hey, Chris, you do know how this Death Row story ended, right?
Get him out of here. That's hilarious. Get him out of here.
You do know how the Death Row story ended, right?
That's why I was just sitting here. I don't know if that's the comparison I'd make.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. No, I mean that's the thing. I would say McKinley.
Dre left the label.
Go to this comment from Chris Lindgren.
Where's he at? Oh, yeah.
41 players between Iowa State and Iowa.
Yes. It just proves if there's nothing to do, kids are going to get in trouble.
Exactly.
Bro, can you imagine just like okay, we're talking about it like on a broad scope. Let's talk about it kind of like through their eyes. Could you imagine being on campus right now, the text messages and everything being sent around? It's like, it's just mayhem. It's pandemonium right now. It's pandemonious. All the stuff that's going on. I could tell you, like being at college, especially when something goes wrong, like when you piss a coach off or when you do something everybody's got to run, it's like you instantly become part of a group chat yet you didn't even know about. You look down on your phone, you got 6-7 text messages saying, hey, did you hear this? Hey, we got to meet at this place. No, we don't. No, we don't. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Hey, if we don't meet, it's crazy. I can only imagine what's going through their minds because
Chris, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So, especially since you're the legal expert on this panel, is it better or worse that it's this many people involved?
I think that in hindsight, it will be better simply because if it was now you can't necessarily discipline. I mean, which they will try to, but I don't necessarily think you could discipline each player differently, even though some players may have betted a little bit more. It's all pretty much going to be grouped in the same class. And plus, I mean, I don't know what the handbook or what the rule book for the NCAA is on it, but I don't know exactly what they did because it's a lot that goes into it, and it's a lot of lawsuits that could come both ways because you got to think, what if they're actually in a state that allows sports betting? What if they're in, what if they actually did everything legally, but they just, obviously you're saying that, okay, well, in the heart of the sport, the spirit of the sport, you can't bet on your own thing, but you're saying, one, I didn't participate in any of the events, or two, I didn't even do it directly. It was used under a different account on a different name. So kind of, I facilitated stuff. I had an act in it, but this is basically conspiracy. It's almost like, how should I say this? This is the equivalent of the RICO charges that they are putting on all the rappers now. I mean, it's exactly what it is. It's just
Iowa
a
State got
conspiracy charge.
RICO'd.
Yeah, they got RICO. That's what it is.
RICO if they got caught though. I mean,
It's a
I can
RICO
see-
case.
I'm not gonna say it's a damn RICO. Man.
I mean, well, think
You
about
said
it.
they YSL, bro.
Yeah, think about it. If it's 41,
Well, one of them-
Shein.
Well, some of them alphabet boys got them. I don't know who.
Oh,
I'm
man.
just saying, it's the equivalent of a RICO case, honestly. All you need for a RICO case is to say you're a part of a gang, y'all have done gang activities, yeah, and maybe trace maybe one or two transactions that you did unlawfully. It's the same thing. It's essentially the same thing. They RICO'd these boys and they've got them all together.
Well, Chris, if they RICO'd them, which one of these kids is gonna be Gunna? That's what's gonna decide.
Yeah, somebody got to snatch. Somebody got to snitch.
Somebody
Somebody
got
about to
to
go, hey man,
Somebody
somebody
has-
has
It's
to
gonna be
sing
the
like Patti
kicker.
LaBelle.
It's gonna be the kicker. He's gonna be like, guys, come on.
It's the-
Do you
it's
see
the
my job?
kicker.
I haven't kicked an extra point in God knows how long.
Oh, hey, Ty, it's gotta be the kick. You know the kick ain't built like that.
somebody gotta snitch.
That's
man.
exactly why he's the one who will snitch.
He gonna be the gunner.
What's happening, slime?
I hate y'all.
Oh my God,
I'm just
that's
saying.
crazy, man.
Yeah.
Kids are gonna be kids, but God, Lee, man, this is crazy, man.
Yeah, it's
Um, you can't do this, man. You just can't do this, man. But Chris, that was a crazy analogy, man, with the whole RICO case. I actually like that, Chris.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, yeah. Think about it. Think about it. Hey, wait, before y'all go to sleep, y'all gonna raise up your light.
ISL Cyclones. That's crazy.
Hey, y'all gonna pop up your light. Hey, he was spitting tonight. I see what he doing.
Oh, you know what though? You know what's crazy about it? Hunter Decker's got to be Young Thug, right? Because he the quarterback of the team.
Man, he's going down.
One of those
He's going
accounts was like
down.
was a minor, if I'm correct, wasn't it?
Oh my God.
The Iowa kicker is a minor.
Oh yeah, he's for
word.
sure snitching.
Oh, he's
Oh yeah.
And I
He's
don't
for
think he has
sure
a scholarship either.
Oh,
Oh
he's
man,
for sure
hey, look, he
snitching.
off the team. He's gonna be singing like Patti LaBelle.
He's for
It's
sure
over.
They don't even know his name. Like, who are you?
All the better for him.
Oh my God.
Hunter Decker, one of the bets, I don't know if it was legit or not, but they had a video come out where this girl was recording him placing a bet allegedly, and he told the girl at the end of the video, do not share this or whatever, like send it to me and delete it. And of course she sold it. So, you can also put that to these whats are not loyal as well.
Or
as an explanation for these young
or
bets.
Steven, it's undefeated, and we know what the it is.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's
That's
undefeated.
Can't trust him.
disappointing.
Fair point. Didn't think of
Oh,
it that way.
Oh my God. All right. I think we talked enough about Hunter Deckers, man, quarterback who won't be playing college football this year, more than likely. Third topic, man, Auburn recruiting. Recent update came out. KJ Bolden is the number one safety here in the country. He's supposed to commit this Saturday. I think he's down to 5 teams. Yeah, on the 5th of August, he's going to commit. He's down to Alabama, Ohio State, Georgia, Auburn, and Florida State. And it looks like Auburn has been surging like crazy. Jay posted this topic here in the group chat, Jay, so I will let you start this one off.
If I may.
Go ahead.
Yes,
Go ahead,
Ty, I
Go
want
ahead.
Ty to
Go ahead,
lead
Ty.
on this one because this is the one that it probably hits closest to home to him than anybody else.
Yeah, look, and Jay, you and I had talked about this. He's going to get the Auburn stuff, but I had always thought that the KJ Bolden addition would be a long shot for Alabama, just coming off of the Caleb Downs win last year.
Yeah.
I didn't think that they would be able to go back-to-back number one safeties in the nation because last year, not only did they get Downs, they got Tony Mitchell. So that was 2 top 5 safeties. And, I mean, KJ Bolden's a beast. Auburn right now, they're recruiting at an insane level. There's no doubt about that. But I have to wonder if this isn't being used as leverage for both Georgia and Florida State and what they're able to do in the NIL department. Because we know Auburn right now is playing around with a lot of NIL money. They're trying to throw around a lot, and deservedly so. But I almost wonder if his comments are more driving up the price for Florida State and Georgia. Because Auburn is interesting, but I mean, look, they're recruiting at an elite level right now. There's no doubt about that. They got a huge flip on Alabama. Perry Thompson flipping from Alabama, 5-star wide receiver to Auburn. He said some nonsensical things, but that's neither here nor there, saying that Hugh Freeze has been a better developer of wide receivers than Alabama. Hugh Freeze has had 2,000-yard wide receivers his entire career. Nick Saban and Bama put 5 wide receivers into the first round of the NFL draft in 3 years. So that's really not a conversation to be had there. But look, if that's where you're called to be home, I wish the best for him. He is going to be a problem. Perry Thompson is a monster. He is so talented. He's going to be a problem. All the best for him. Hugh Freeze, big-time offenses. Auburn's recruiting at a high level right now, and they need it.
Yeah, and kind of to add to that, and reason why I wanted to pose it is that this is making me think about Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss. Remembering the Laramie Tunsil situation where it's so funny. Everybody knows 3-year Letterman, right? The dude that basically trolls everybody as the youth football coach on Twitter.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen him, he's got like 500,000 followers on Twitter. He's annoying, but at the same time, the stuff can be hysterical. Well, Hugh Freeze randomly DM'd him for some reason. I think he made a comment about him because Hugh Freeze searches his name on Twitter. Just FYI, if we put a video out talking about Hugh Freeze, he will search his name and send you a message. But anyway, he asked him how much did Laramie Tunsil cost, and he's like, "Are you ridiculous? That's ridiculous. What makes you think me as a coach will be involved with something like that?" And then he stopped following him. I think he blocked him at that point. But it was like, bro, we know we're not stupid. We know y'all had 3 5-stars in that class, right? They had 3 5-stars at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
That told me enough about what Hugh Freeze is doing. And so when I saw that Auburn is starting to pull these players in, I was not surprised because they have no problem with paying people. Problem is they got a very dysfunctional base of boosters, and I'm waiting for that to implode, which it has happened every time they've had a coach.
It's going to be interesting, man. Look, Jay, I'm with you. Hugh Freeze can recruit his ass off. He knows the right buttons to push when it comes to the direct deposit. And he gets who he wants when he wants them, especially at Ole Miss. The teams he was able to get, and DJ, Tunsil. I mean, he had just a crew, just a litany of guys who got drafted in the first round. I mean, that was a hell of a class that he had. That's why I don't think he's going to have any problems at Auburn, and I think this is going to continue. Just him last week getting Riddick. I mean, he was huge, man. He's probably going to start this year. He's going to be one of the most impactful linebackers in the SEC this year. As a true freshman, he's that talented. He's like a generational talent. I think we all see that. He's a national top, 20-player tie, somewhere around there.
26 in the nation per 24/7 Sports Composite. Yeah, and I think that's a little low. That's low.
Yeah, so Hugh Freeze knows what he's doing. He knows how to build a winner. I think this is the first time he's been able to get to a school and be the head coach where he knows Kidding has the resources and the fan base that is going to back.
That could be a problem.
That's going to be a problem because.
Oh no, and I don't mean for opponents. I mean for Hugh Freeze. I mean, he can't keep. I'm not wishing it. He can't keep himself out of trouble when he gets banished to the small places.
Yeah,
I mean, allegations come out the woodworks about him.
It's very fair.
It is fair.
It's one of those things, and I know people are like, "Oh, but those are." None of us here on this panel have false allegations everywhere we go, and there's probably a good reason why we don't. Is because we're not out here doing innocuous things. But everywhere he goes, there are allegations that follow. It seems like there's a pattern.
But I think the only thing that might be a saving grace here now is that the things that he was doing at Ole Miss, it wasn't the only thing. He had so much stuff going on at Ole Miss, man. But just the football things.
His football IQ is ridiculous.
Yeah, but just the infractions he got in trouble with at Ole Miss for football are going to all be wiped away with the new landscape of college football. It is, how can he handle his personal dealings outside of football? Is that going to be able to translate to be successful on the field as well? And to keep his name.
Are we forgetting that he had a pit stop at Liberty and did a lot of good things there?
No. I mean,
he did.
Yeah, but that was.
Let's define good real quick. Hold up, Nick.
I mean, good for their standards, Jay. Let's be real.
Are we not forgetting about the controversy with the sexual assault allegations?
Exactly, him DMing the victim and telling the victim
that's
that
your champion, Chris?
Is that your king? Is that your king? Like I said, Hugh Freeze searches his name. He's probably going to find this and start sending us DMs and messages soon because this is literally what he did. The girl didn't say his name, said something about the incident. He hopped in her DMs and said that person that allegedly did whatever they did to her is a fine young Christian man, and he's been knowing him for a while, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Chris, you gotta defend these allegations, brother, because they talk about you were on retainer, brother.
Chicken has a good idea. If we're gonna put him on trial by fire, okay, I'll be Hugh Freeze's. I'll be his attorney for sure.
Oh, you want the money? You don't even want to actually defend him.
Listen to me. I can tell you right here. I'll kill your conversation now. Okay, first off, all right, we're gonna penalize a man for something that happened These things happened 6 to 7 years ago, and we're sitting here penalizing a man.
November 29th, 2022.
Okay,
that's a year ago.
Has rehabilitated his character and rehabilitated a program.
Your entire argument just fell apart. Like Chris,
Chris, I know you're a retainer, and that's why you're carrying Auburn gear, but you can't do this.
Vito, cut the video off. Cut the video off.
Put us all on screen. Let us talk. Let us talk to this as a family. Come on, Chris.
He's like, quit it.
Hey, I mean, if I would say if there was a judge, I would say, Judge, if I may. I mean it. I haven't been able to actually speak, but like I was saying, though,
we need a short recess.
I understand the merit of your argument, but what I'm trying to explain to you is that this man has been penalized. Okay. He's went through the rigorous, okay, a very rigorous and a very strenuous rehabilitation of himself and certain programs along the way. Okay, we need to give him this is a fresh start. This is his chance to actually redeem himself at a somewhat storied program, maybe a little bit more, even more storied than Alabama. But you know.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks.
This guy stinks.
I'm just saying. The conversation isn't even about Hugh Freeze. The conversation is simply about this. Ty, y'all had some players. Y'all got them taken. If you had told me it's Georgia, if I would have told you this was Georgia, you would have been like, all right, okay, I see it. Anybody else but Auburn out of everybody.
Yes and no, but it's one of those things like this. If I look at DeMarcus Riddick, he flipped from Georgia, and I know he was supposed to go to Alabama. But if you're quoting saying, I'm not concerned about winning, I just want to have fun. Look, Auburn, like that might be the best place for him, but it's also probably equally true that if that's your mentality, Alabama's probably not the best place for you anyways. And I would rather him go where he's going to be most happy and most successful. And based on what he's looking for, that wasn't Alabama. And look, Perry Thompson is a monster. But if you got told that Hugh Freeze has had more wide receiver production than the University of Alabama, I don't know.
It's a lie. You're lying.
I don't. He's had 2,000-yard wide receivers.
Who are his parents? Like, do some research. There's no excuses anymore. We got this thing called Google. Anytime one of my troops comes up to me and says some stupid stuff, I tell them to GTS it, and they say, "What's that, sir?" I say, "Google that shit." All right, like just look at it. It's that simple. GTS it. Google that shit. All right.
Can I make a quick point? Can I make a quick point? Because I'm not going to defend what the nonsense that Chris spewed, defending Hugh Freeze. However, what Chris represents is a broader issue going back to Hugh Freeze, which is the Auburn fan base. These people are desperate and they are willing to sell their souls. Okay. I saw it firsthand with Coach Harsin on Auburn Twitter. Auburn Twitter spaces were legendary for those who do not remember. Okay. These people are willing to do whatever it takes. They do not care. Look, we will ask for forgiveness later as long as it doesn't happen on 4K and camera. And if it does, we might make something up anyway. Okay, but we are tired of what Saban has done to us. We are tired of what has happened in the SEC. We do not care because that's what you guys are saying, Auburn. You don't care anymore.
They hired a guy that they fired They tried to launch a coup because Brian Harsin apparently had crimes of moral turpitude, and then they go after Hugh Freeze.
Yeah. And so this is the thing about Hugh Freeze, man. If he can just stick to football and leave the personal stuff out, don't address personal issues. If somebody asks you, just say, we are dedicated to playing Team X this week. That's all you got to say. The rest
We're on
of
to Cincinnati.
Hold on. Let me call somebody
We're
to
on
the
to
stand real
Cincinnati.
quick. Let me call somebody to the stand real quick. Ty Hayes, I call you to the stand, okay? Please.
Presente.
Here we go.
So, Mr. Hayes, okay? And man, can I call you Mr. Hayes?
Please do.
Okay. So, Mr. Hayes, I just want to know, were you there when he allegedly used these burner phones?
I mean, I wasn't.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
No.
Were you there when he allegedly hired these entertainers, as we'll just call them for that purposes? Were you there? Yes or no?
Here we go.
No.
Guy.
Okay. Did you see any evidence where his fingerprints were on any of these alleged burner phones that he?
You know all the evidence I need? The people that were paying him to beat Nick Saban and he was beating him, fired him.
Yeah.
That's all the evidence I needed to see.
No further questions,
Guilty.
Your Honor. I just wanted to know.
Guilty.
That's all I wanted to know.
Chris is 100% on retainer there.
Yeah, he is a retainer, man. Like, Jesus. Like, what is going on, Chris?
Hey, you get your bag, man. I respect it. Get your bag.
Just no lunch is on you next
Have
time.
y'all seen
Right?
inflation out here? I got nothing but respect for it.
Hey, you know what though, Chris? This would look. Did he really pay his debt? All right. I mean, no.
They don't care, you know?
No. But look. I'm being honest here, right? Hugh Freeze is a hell of a coach. And
No
Hugh Freeze
doubt.
keeps getting jobs because he is a hell of a coach. At any one of our jobs that we work at now, if we got caught doing those things, we will be asking, "Can I take your order, please, sir or ma'am?" Okay? Because
If we were lucky.
If we even got that far.
If we weren't under the jail.
Yeah, so let's just say Hugh Freeze got fired from Ole Miss, goes to Liberty, probably makes what, $1 million or so at Liberty, maybe a little bit more, so is that really punishment? So he's still becoming a rich millionaire, leaves and goes to greener pastures, up to Auburn. He's getting paid what, $6 million a year right now, $5-6 million a year, somewhere around there. So Hugh Freeze's quality of life has not changed. I don't think he got rehab anything. He got humbled a little bit. He had to take about a $4 million pay cut and make just $1 million this year. All right. So
that was supposed to be at Liberty. That was supposed to be at a good, clean, wholesome Christian school. Now you got Auburn.
Oh, Christ.
Kill trees.
Steven, he about to kill it at Auburn. He about to kill it at Auburn.
In fairness, Auburn didn't kill the trees. That was an unfortunate
Wow.
party, but
oh man,
that's
I'm in Bama this year. I'm going to Auburn game this year. I'm gonna go to Auburn game this year. I want to see his offense, this firsthand. But
if they get it together, look, I'll be the first to admit it. If they get it together, that's going to be an awesome thing to see. If they can get the defense right, if they can get the offense right, that's going to be awesome to see. The last thing, I understood Perry Thompson's main comment where he was like, well, Nick Saban mainly works with the DBs. And if I go with Hugh Freeze, he works with the offense. And if he would have just said that, I'd have been like, cool, but Perry, you're going to be working with Mike Davis, the wide receiver coach. Like, that's who you're going to be working with. Like, you either going to be with Holloman Wiggins or Mike Davis. But I do get the point of, like, well, Hugh Freeze is an offensive guy, so, like, he would have more direct say. That's a completely logical take. That's completely understandable. But, guys, he is going to be a problem at Auburn.
Yes.
That young man is 6'3", 210 pounds, and has clocked multiple sub-11 second 100-meter dashes. Yeah, he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem.
Then he has hell of a coach in there in Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is going to kill it.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to kill it, man. He fits in right with the Auburn culture. I'm going to be honest with you. Auburn is desperate. Steven said it earlier. They are desperate. Hugh Freeze is desperate right now. They are going for
if I'm representing him, objection.
They are going for broke right now.
Not relevant.
They are going for broke right now. I'm telling you, man. They're going to put up with anything they can because they are so tired of seeing the big brother in this state kick ass every year, and they can't do anything about it but win 5, 6, or 7 games a year. I'm telling you.
They were having Art Briles spaces.
Yes.
Last year. I was in them listening.
My God.
These people do not care.
They don't.
They
It's
don't.
That's all I'm
wild.
saying.
And I don't
Am I
blame
lying,
them.
Nino?
I don't
Am I lying?
blame them though. Look, I'm in Alabama right now for the next year. You guys know that. You know, my wife's from the state. I went down to her hometown this weekend, and 90% of her family is Alabama fans. The other 10% are Auburn fans, and they just look so dejected. I mean, they just look like I can't watch football, Nick. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what like they are really, but they're so excited now because of Hugh Freeze. They don't give a damn what Freeze did at his last 2 stops. They just want to win some damn football games. But they better figure out that quarterback situation first.
Who's
the coordinator out there? Is that Ron Roberts? Yeah, Ron Roberts is the defensive coordinator at Auburn.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the coordinator. Mars was asking that.
Look,
yeah.
We got all of our topics.
You're running a nickel.
We didn't talk about I don't think we talked about LSU schedule, have we?
No. Let's save that.
We'll have to save that for next week. We'll get
Let's save that for next week.
Yeah.
I do. Before we leave in the last 10 minutes or wherever we have here, I do want to touch on fall camps.
Yeah. Let's do fall camps.
Our beloved Texas Longhorns started fall camp today, and it's an exciting time. And in all honesty, as we wrap this up,
I love y'all.
I couldn't be more excited for the health of my Texas Longhorns, and hearing the glowing reports of Quinn Ewers today at practice and the command that he has over this football team and the efficiency in which practice was run today. Okay, so I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, all right, in terms of Steve Sarkisian.
I saw you.
Damn it. You need to get it done, all right? I'm turning into like Buddy Garrity Friday Night Lights type stuff, bro. Like, we about to be at the car dealership. Like, look now, get you one of these. You gotta
be careful with that, right?
Look here, man. Look here, Steven. I am not drinking Kool-Aid until I see the team on the field. And Steven, you know me. Look, man. Maybe next week I might go all in. But as of right now, I ain't saying a damn thing until the first game of the season. Honestly, not even the first game. I got to see the second game of the season here in Alabama when I'm in them stands. I want to see how my team looks against Alabama at Tuscaloosa. That's going to show you what this team is all about, man.
I love that you don't want to get hurt too early, Nick. But you actually recognize that you do need to give it. Just let it be proven to you. I appreciate that. I'm the same way.
It has to be proven to me. I know Jay was very fair last year about his team, even though his channel is called Unfair Sports. He was very fair about his team, unlike Chris. Chris said they were going to go 11-1 last year. But Jay was really honest about the coaching.
Y'all said that y'all was going to win 10 games last year, too.
Yeah, but hey, 8's closer to 10 than 5.
That's not the point. It's the principle.
And you're right. And you're right.
Hey, before we get into all of
I
that,
had OU 9-3 last year, so I was off as well.
Let Steven finish his point. Steven, go ahead, man. Tell us about Texas.
No, my brother, I was finished. He was finished. All right, brevity is the.
You gotta pay attention.
Brevity
I thought there was more than just mullet, boy. I didn't know we were still talking about Quinn. I saw Quinn with that $2 fade. I saw that.
Hey, man, don't be talking about Dallas. Come on, man.
Yo, that Quintavious fade was hitting, brother. By the way, Harrison Beck got a fade now, too.
Yes,
it was faded just right too, man.
Y'all need to go check out Harrison Beck of Georgia. He got a fade too, and a diamond chain.
Hey,
you lying.
Somebody put Michael Spruill's Sproul, however you say your last name, my guy. Great comment right there.
Michael Sproul.
Second half of the second game will prove it to me. That's what it is. That's what it's about.
That's what I just said, right? I said I'm not saying nothing until after this Alabama game. I want to see how this team reacts against this Alabama.
Yeah, but as a whole in the season, got to see what the second half adjustments are going to be. If he makes second half adjustments, Sarkis is going out there with a script and just playing for fool's gold. I mean, that's what he's doing.
You're right. Against Oklahoma, we didn't need no adjustments.
That's perfectly fine. I'm not sitting here talking about that. That's last year.
I won't even argue you on that one, boy. There's no reason we argue because it was
you
bad. You
guys need to figure out your adjustments this year because in the second half,
I'm just saying. 13-12 over the past 2 years.
Chris, you listen to Coach Stark. If you listen to Coach Sark, the first thing he's brought up throughout his entire car wash of media is working on finishing football games and situational football and emphasizing situational football. We got to see it to believe it. I completely agree, but at least that is a point of emphasis.
Yeah.
Because we know we were beating people's ass in the first half. That's also factual. Okay, so if we just learn how to finish and win, then everything's Gucci. So he's been touching on that.
The most complete game, and we all talked about it last year. If you go and watch that Kansas game, y'all, I mean, not only did y'all dominate them, but y'all continued to dominate them throughout the game. That's the best called game all year for y'all, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Just
outside of OU, it was, yes.
Come on, man. I mean,
it's not as much work y'all had to do in that game.
That's a good hit.
Yeah.
Well, so I have a question for y'all, though. I got a question for y'all because we're talking fall camp as we're getting out of here. Who in the SEC, and OU, Texas included in this, right? They'll be in the SEC soon enough. Who has the most important fall camp in front of them? And I will go ahead and nominate my Crimson Tide first. You don't replace all of that talent, especially in key positions and coordinators, and fall camp not mean a whole lot. You also don't bring in a quarterback at the end of spring and it not create more questions than answers. Fall camp's going to be huge. A lot of talent for Alabama. That's not the issue. How will everything come together? What will the Kevin Steele defense look like? That right there is my biggest question. I'm excited for Tommy Rees. I think the creativity will be there. But Kevin Steele's defense, I want to see what that looks like with this group for Alabama. So for me, I think Alabama has a really important fall camp in front of them.
Let me say this about Alabama. Let me say this about Alabama because I wanted to say this to Ty. I think y'all are going to win the SEC hands down. And this is why
I would sure love that. Yeah.
This is why I say that, because last year, even with Golding, okay, let me just break this down. Golding ran all these exotic defenses. We talk about that at a high volume, right? Every time we're on
ad nauseum, yes.
Now that you have Kevin Steele, that's what actually it should excite people about it. I know maybe it's not the hottest name for everybody, but it's the fact that you get to go and play.
It feels more like home.
It is. It's home.
You get to go play straight up. You're not out there playing all these crazy, exotic looks, all the rest of this stuff, trying to move your best player around in and out or whatnot and kind of getting him in and out of his rhythm. You're just letting them go. So the whole thing is, for me, is that if you look at the two games y'all lost, I don't care how great people are going to say that LSU is this year. I don't care how great people say Tennessee should be on Milton's back. The fact of the matter is that even at their best last year, it took them the games of their lives to beat Alabama.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really good.
That's 100% factual. It took them their best games to beat Alabama. So going forward, I think that Alabama will probably be will be even more. Excuse me. Honestly, I think they'll be better schematic wise, just scheme wise, simply because I think Tommy Rees is going to do a good job with the quarterbacks. I think he's going to surprise you with his play calling simply because I know we have Buckner there, but I think everybody on here would agree it's Milroe's job to lose.
I think so. Here, Ty Simpson.
Yeah, I don't think that he's ever coached a quarterback or had a quarterback room like this. But on defense, when you're just letting them go play straight up, I don't see why y'all shouldn't dominate this league, honestly. Georgia is going to be good again. We already know that, but at the same time, I don't see how y'all don't make it to Atlanta.
Before you hop in, Jay, I just want to have one comment, and then I want to hear what you. I agree and disagree. Where I agree, I agree that the scheme should be more conducive to success because the offense will be a bit more simplified, not the route modification, and the defense will be more at home. But without Bryce Young, without the two inside linebackers, replacing two safeties, replacing Will Anderson, I agree that the scheme is more conducive to success, but whether or not it will be more successful instantly, I don't know. And I think LSU is going to be very good.
But y'all do this every year, though, Ty, and that's what you have on your side is history.
True. I don't think we're going to be bad, but still. Go ahead, James.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Alabama wins 10 games this season. That's easy. Minimum 10. Okay. My concern is just like with you, Ty. To answer your question, I have two teams. It's Alabama and it's LSU. They're the two that I think fall camps are the most important for. And I say that because LSU walking in with the most experienced quarterback in the SEC right now, outside of Spencer Rattler, but LSU has a much better team around him, especially on the defensive side. When you got Harold Perkins, he's almost his own guy. You know what I'm saying? He's almost defense.
One dude.
Right.
Mason Smith, 5-star
Mason,
defensive
add
linebacker.
Mason Smith to that. I'm not going down the list of all those defenders that they have because they have some good defenders. Their problem is depth. And even Brian Kelly will say it. I think he said it in some interviews recently with the local media. Depth is the thing that they're probably the most concerned about, but they will get to that point. And Clash, to answer your question, we do this every Wednesday. This is the SEC Connect Wednesday. All of us have our own channels, but we come together to stream on each other's channels while at the same time have this great conversation around SEC football, because OU in Texas will be in the SEC next year. Ty, the Alabama fan. I also like Tennessee. So you've got a lot of great stuff, fandom coming through here. But my point is, for Alabama, it is quarterback. That's what we're trying to figure out. We need to know who's going to run the offense. You brought the guy in from Notre Dame who knows the offense that Tommy Rees runs. Buckner, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
so you bring him in, you bring Ty Buckner in, and then you have, of course, got Milroe. You've got the whole slew of them. But as Ty always says, and I always appreciate it when you say this, if you got 3 quarterbacks, you ain't got no quarterbacks. So we've got to see what it looks like in fall camp for them to see who emerges as the top guy, because it's not Bryce Young. We don't have a guy to walk in there as a great eraser and fix things automatically because he's that darn generationally good.
Yeah.
LSU at the same time has to show me that they can be consistent this year. I expect 10 wins, but honestly, they're the team built perfectly to win the SEC this year, only because Georgia got their quarterback situation. They've got 2 5-star quarterbacks that's probably not going to play this year again. And they also brought in a new offensive coordinator. Well, technically a new offensive coordinator. They promoted somebody, but it's still a new coordinator, right? It's still somebody else wanting to put their own flavor on things. So the question is going to be, what does it look like on execution on their side? Same thing with Alabama. What does it look like on execution on that side? Defenses, I'm not concerned about either team on that. Like you said, Kevin Steele's coming in. He's basically the same dude that was there years before, and Nick Saban's going to kind of run everything. We're waiting for Jeremy Pruitt to get about a year out so they can hire him, suspend him for a year, and then bring him in as the new defensive coordinator. We know that's going to happen.
Dodgeball games are going different there at that PE class. Let me tell you.
Okay, man, I would just hire him right now.
Yeah.
Let him do his year suspension right now.
That's my 2 teams
to the Bama thing. One quick thing, because Jay, you mentioned, I think you hit on a lot of good points as well as Chris. My only question, I guess, is timing, especially when it comes to the quarterbacks. How long does that take until they make a decision, right? Because is that 2 scrimmages? Is that 2 weeks before the first game of the season? How long until they know who their guy is? One of the things that, from a Texas standpoint, Quinn Ewers just talked about was when he was in the quarterback battle with Hudson Card last year. He said, as a quarterback, it's really hard to lead the team and have it be your team when you're competing for reps. When you're going in there, you're more so focused about executing your own stuff and not screwing up so you can get as many reps as possible, versus when you're the guy, now you have a lot more command and leeway and say. And y'all know how football goes when there's a QB1 established that's getting all of the first team reps. So my question more so to see how this plays out is timing of it all when Alabama ultimately makes that decision.
You know what?
The second game, which I'm not a fan of. I completely agree with you, Stephen. I would much rather be done that way.
Hell, with Saban, there may not be a starter name. You remember the whole Tua and Jalen.
That's why I said it'll famously probably go into the second game.
Yeah, it has to. But look here, man. Alabama's getting back to the basics. You guys heard me say this on the show the past month or so. Kevin Steele's outstanding hire for them because it's not going to be anything exotic. It's going to be boring, bully football that we have been used to seeing Alabama play before Saban. I don't want to say got cute and started getting really, really good quarterbacks, that's what you want to do. You want your quarterback room to be an outstanding room. But when Saban didn't have great quarterbacks and he had game managers, I know it was a different time and a different football. But I mean, this wasn't too long ago. They won a championship with Jay Coker, with Derrick Henry running the ball like crazy. I'm not saying nobody on their roster right now is Derrick Henry, but they got a hell of a room when it comes to running backs. Miller, Chase, dude, they got a room. They got a room. And I think Alabama's going to play bully ball this year. I think Kevin Steele is going to make it so simple and so basic. He's not going to have a guy like Dallas Turner dropping back in coverage. He's going to let his thoroughbred run forward and not backwards. And I think that was one of the best quotes I've ever heard from Mac Brown was, why are you making my All-American outside linebacker run backwards? He makes a living by getting sacks. Let him run forward. I think Kevin Steele is going to do that this year. They're going to be a very sound and disciplined team. And when Saban plays boring bully ball, they win. My biggest complaint with them this year is, and I'm not just saying this because Texas is my team, if they don't, them not having the quarterback position sold up right now could spell disaster for them in game 2 if they don't have everything locked up. When it comes to LSU, they play LSU in week 9. Whoever the starting quarterback is by that time, there is no excuses then, right?
Have you seen the schedule leading into LSU?
I know it's tough.
Oh my
God.
God.
But it's Alabama, right? Heaviest the head that wears the crown, right? Heaviest the head that wears the crown. We've seen Alabama do this year in and year out. Alabama had their best quarterback that they've ever had in the history of this program with Bryce Young, and didn't win a championship.
True.
We've seen this team win championships with A.J. McCarron. We've seen him with Jake Coker. We've seen him go to the playoffs with Sims, with Blake Sims. Okay, and I think this could be one of those seasons where it's a Blake Sims kind of season, Ty, in the fact that maybe they make it to the playoffs or get really close to it. Maybe don't get there all the way, but I think Jalen Milroe is a better quarterback than Blake Sims was out of high school. Milroe was a no kidding.
I think he could be.
Yeah,
he has to show that he has more potential.
He has the tools
for sure.
Better quarterback than Blake Sims. But Blake Sims got recruited as a quarterback coming out of high school. A lot of people don't.
Yeah, but with Bama, with those quarterbacks, my only pushback to that though is that even if you can include A.J. McCarron in there too. How many elite passers did they have to go up against where it's like, damn, the other team might put up 48 today with the other quarterback? I felt like at that time they didn't have to go. Watson. They didn't have to go head up like that. They did. No, you're right. But like I'm talking about on a more consistent basis within the conference.
That's fair.
Not in the conference. Not like a one-off in a bowl game, right?
Yeah, or for sure.
Conference. So now it's like Tennessee can put up. We saw what Tennessee did.
They put 50 last year
and whatnot. Like you gotta score. The quarterbacks are a little bit different. I know we feel very differently about the SEC quarterback rankings this year, and I feel like some of us think some people are really good and some people aren't, and that's going to get exposed. But I do feel as though the quarterback play and the threat of putting up a lot of points is a lot different today than it was even 6 or 7 years ago. That's
completely fair. Completely
Ty,
fair. No doubt.
Ty, please. Ty. Okay. Let's wrap this show. Ty, I don't want you to go through this, bro. Listen to these conceited ass Texas fans talk about great quarterback play, knowing that they've been through the rigors with freaking Sam Ehlinger. These two said Sam Ehlinger was a good quarterback. Don't listen to these conceited ass fake fans right here.
What does that have to do with our football
and talk to this man about
what does that have to do with what we're talking about with football?
Y'all were ride and die fans for Sam Ehlinger, and that man is a bum.
He said he is sick.
Y'all talk to Ty like that.
Wow, what a
that boy's a bum.
He's a bum in the check in the NFL.
Stop playing. He's a bum.
Yeah, he's in the NFL.
Daniels is in the NFL as well. He's made a lot of money holding the clipboard too. He's a bum.
Who?
Stop playing. Chase Daniels, Missouri.
He's in the NFL for a reason.
Bum.
But
I don't let these people talk to you about quarterback play.
The person on this panel that has Dylan Gabriel as their starting quarterback talking about Ehlinger's a bum.
What did I say? Anything bad about Alabama quarterback position? I just said this is the year that they don't have the greatest quarterback to ever come to their school. But when they don't have that great quarterback, they do great things because Nick Saban gets back to the basics.
Well, yeah, I think that's like it's a double-edged sword because Steven is 100% right. Football's changed. Like even since Jake Coker and that 2015 Alabama team that won the national. I mean, that was 8 years ago. I mean, that's changed. A lot has changed. Luckily, I think that every quarterback on roster has the ability to be more of a modern quarterback than a Jake Coker. So I am happy there, but that's a completely valid point. I think the flip side of that, though, is that it could force Alabama into being a bit more traditional, working with your tight ends, running the football. And guys, that running back room is ridiculous.
That's what Georgia does. Georgia's
exactly.
It's not an exotic offense. They didn't have the best quarterback in college football,
But the other thing that concerns me about that, in order to do that, you have to be unbelievably disciplined. Now, normally that's Bama's calling card. Last year they were unbelievably undisciplined.
Young team too, though. I mean, when you look at
Georgia also had the ability to turn it on offensively in the big games when they absolutely needed to. That offense all of a sudden became unstoppable against Ohio State and TCU and when they really needed it. But week over week, Georgia was able to say, hey, we're going to shut these people down. We don't need to get crazy.
But I think that's the beauty of having a guy like Jalen Milroe say, I think his feet, that's going to be a game changer for Alabama, that when things look like they're breaking down, last year you had Bryce, and Bryce could just do anything with his arm. It was ridiculous. But Jalen Milroe, just when you think you have the perfect coverage against every wide receiver and every tight end, and there's single man coverage and everybody's back's turned, he can get it for 70 yards with no problem.
He can show he's, in a lot of cases, the most athletic person on the football field.
But Ty, Ty, I think one of the last points that I would make about Milroe is what happens when he has a quarterback coach and offensive coordinator that's out there trying to put him in real positions to win.
And this is the thing, we have not seen Jalen Milroe be asked to run an offense that is not predicated on him getting that's not predicated on what Bryce does. And I wouldn't wish the offense Bryce was asked to run last year on anybody. It worked because Bryce is freaky. It shouldn't. It was dumb what Bill O'Brien was doing. Yeah, it was wild.
It was.
I do think it is a positive for Jalen Milroe that he got, regardless of how
I agree
disappointed the offense was, the fact that he got to play
100%.
and the fact that he got to start in certain games and figure it out and get used to game speed. But he's also seen himself do some crazy stuff on the football field already to where he can look back and say, yo, I did roll out for like 80 on Arkansas. Like, that did happen.
In a game against A&M, the stuff to get
right in the A&M game. Like I feel like people hyper focused on the fumbles and the things he didn't do, and it's like he still got away with it and won the game.
I'm telling you, man, he's gonna be freaky dangerous. Look, guys, me and Steven have seen a lot of this dude when he was in high school playing in Katy. Let me tell you something, man. Jalen Milroe is one of those talents that when he's on the football field, you're just like, oh my.
Before we get out of here, it's so crazy that you said that this reminded you a little bit of the Blake Sims, because this offseason has almost happened the exact way that offseason happened, where there was a quarterback battle going into it. All the wide receivers went to train, and where was Blake Sims? He was with the wide receivers training, getting the timing down, doing all this. He ran away with the job. All the Bama wide receivers went to train in Florida. Jalen Milroe went with them.
There you go. He should start quarterback. He should start quarterback.
I'd love for it to be him. I'd be so happy.
But folks, look, prior to us leaving, $5 chat, SBC Bates, man, he said, I can't believe I didn't know about this channel until a couple of days ago. I thought for sure Chris would be getting along with Steven. SBC Bates, man, appreciate the $5 chat, man. Thank you. But folks, man, look, we've been on for an hour and 15 minutes now. Look, appreciate you guys, just tuning in. Hit that like button, man. Liking and commenting and subscribing helps this channel grow a lot, man. And we're trying to get this thing up, especially for football season. We're excited about the upcoming season, folks. But on that note, man, look, it's time for us to get up out of here, folks.
If y'all like the channel, go ahead and like, comment, Boomer in the chat. Go ahead and do that for us.
Child, please. Child, please.
Put that Boomer on there, baby.
Child, please. Just put SEC Connect.
Now you got to put Boomer.
I wouldn't mind a roll, Todd.
There you go. I see a go horns there. I see you, right? I see you,
Look at all
Mike.
them boomers, baby.
Hold on.
Let me see. I see one boomer there. I see one boomer.
No,
You see one.
First
Let me go back
comment
to
was
my
go
guy. Let me
horn.
go back to Mike. Let me go back to Mike.
The first comment was go horns.
There's a roll tide in there. You might want to get that.
Okay. Yeah,
There's a Roll Tide and a Go
right.
Tigers.
I don't know who that is.
Go Tigers.
Around the table sports, you sound like a sane individual. Roll Tide.
Hey, Mars gave you a Roll Tide too.
Mars
Roll
Jam
Tide.
is Roll Tide.
Mars Roll
All
Tide.
right, man.
Our Texas fans knows what's up. What's understood doesn't need to be explained.
There you go.
Hook 'em.
Welcome. All right, y'all. We out.